Yeah, I mean, this game is tough, and obviously, I think we can easily get into a habit of trying to be too perfect because you don't have to play perfect golf to play well. But if you're looking a certain way and the ball is not doing what you're visualizing, yes, you can make a birdie, you can hit the ball close, but that's not a great indicator that you're going to do that day in, day out. So when I'm in practice, seeing that the ball flight is corresponding better with what I'm visualizing, that gives me more confidence. And yes, I still might go out here and shoot a bad score, but I'm not going to be that upset about it because I know that the processes or the shot making itself is getting closer to where I want it to, and then my likelihood of playing better goes up as well. So
you are you're the defending champion of the FedExCup. Does this week feel like the start of that title defense, or does it? What does it feel like?
Yeah, you could say that. Although I had a really nice weekend here last year, and if it wasn't for the 18th hole, I might have had a really good chance to win this one as well last year. So that was cool. I love this place, and I have some good memories here. But yeah, I try not to think about my FedEx rank or all that stuff so much this week. I've obviously been vocal about me not playing very well this year, so that's kind of what I'm focusing on, just trying to get the horse back on the track and work on the things that I need to work on to play good golf, and then all the other stuff that we'll see. That'll work out if I take care of that stuff.
Mate, you mentioned the weekend here last year. I'll take you back to either it was today or tomorrow maybe here last year. You having a session on that range that looked like really intense, terrible even. You looked upset, frustrated. It was shocking. And I told everybody then, I said, oh, no good, stay off Hov. And you had a bad first round, but from that point on, you went and blitzed the place.
Yeah.
Is there anything from that you could recreate and maybe do the same thing?
I've had so many of those range sessions the last year, it's hard to remember them. But no, I mean, it's, you know, we all play bad golf sometimes and we get frustrated, and hopefully you can keep it still something to learn from when you're there, or else you're just wasting your time. But I feel like we just kind of had to air everything out and really talk about, okay, why was that a bad shot? And sometimes you need to hit those moments to actually learn something and actually take action in a different direction. And yeah, Joe just gave me a really good feel. And then when I try to recreate that feel on the range, I saw some improvement. And then that gave me the confidence that, okay, when I go out there tomorrow, I think I know where the ball is going and I can control it. And then as soon as I just saw a couple of good shots, that gives you that belief and you just run with it. And then I started chipping in, I started making putts, and then, you know, that's a game of golf for you.
And just quietly, do you like being an underdog? Obviously this year you are an underdog, whereas last year you sort of were right up there, obviously.
I don't know. I feel like maybe I've been an underdog in some way my whole life, so I guess I'm kind of used to that position, but it's not something that I think about too much. I'm just trying to control the things that I can control. I know that I've slipped up a little bit this year. I haven't been playing as well as I would have liked, and I'm just working on the things that I need to work on to get back to where I was last year. And then I believe I can do some great things again. But we need to take care of that stuff.
Fast becoming one of the more fascinating interviews in this game. No stone unturned in the world of Viktor Hovland. What do you make of where he is right now?
That's the problem. I think the problem is he's so fascinating. He's so smart. He's so analytical. There's a phrase that we use a lot when I played basketball back in the day, paralysis by analysis. Don't overthink it. Just go out there, read, and react. Golf is a very different sport, but it's also very mental. And a guy like that, with his level of intelligence, he's overthinking it. He is the antithesis of what Scottie Scheffler is as we talk about Scottie. Scottie doesn't get bored with excellence. Scottie is okay with being great and continuing to approach it. There's a lot to be critical of with Scottie's swing, but it works, so he doesn't change it. We look back to last year, the FedExCup playoff. We heard Viktor just talk about it, what he was able to achieve there. And now look at him. He's gone through more swing coaches than my wife has outfits before a date night with us. This is a guy who made too many changes and is kind of trying to figure it all out right now. I love how analytical
Victor's
he is.
trying to get better. Your wife has settled. Let's be clear about that.
Well done. You're absolutely right. It's just tough to think about. And again, golf is this.
Yeah.
I could only dream to be half of what these guys are. But to think what he was a year ago to now, it's hard not to think this was mostly on Viktor, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, Victor will admit that he is an inquisitive guy, and he would also be the first one to say that that's what got him to this point. And he came on our set during Live from the US Open at Pinehurst, and we asked him about what seemed at one point earlier this year to be something of a revolving door of teachers. And it's not as though he was building long-term relationships. He likes to get into deep conversations with teachers, pick their brains, take what knowledge he thinks works for him, and he thinks he's disciplined enough and believes he is to throw out what doesn't work for him and then apply what does work for him, which is a dangerous road to go down for players, but he's quite confident that he has the discipline to do that.
And it's worked for Bryson. It has worked for certain guys.
It has, and Victor did make the point that I thought was quite salient, that every time he opens a door, he closes one behind him. He's not opening every door to take every piece of advice from every source. But again, it's also kind of hard if you're doing that to find your way back to what's your base level? What are your foundational principles here of your golf swing? He does give the impression that he's searching a little bit, and he did talk in that press conference about the idea that there were a lot of frustrating rounds and range sessions out there over the course of the last year. But he's still, he's comfortably inside the playoffs right now. He needs a good week. He's 57th. He needs a good week here to make it into the BMW Championship. Next week, he's off by his standards, but certainly compared to last year. That's a high bar.
Which it is a high bar. And look, it's not like he's off in the corner in the room by himself. I mean, you can look at a few guys that have had up and down roads, maybe not have gone as long without success as him, but look at Spieth, look at JT, look at even Wyndham the year he's had. Like, it's a tough sport. As we talk about not getting bored with success, it's also presumptuous of us to just assume these guys are going to go out there and win all the time. Yeah. Like, that's not what the sport is. So patience, luckily, Viktor has that, which will serve him well.